Rincey, and this is Rincey Reads. Today I'm going to be doing a book review of Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. This is the second book in the Lunar Chronicle series, the first book being Cinder, which was one of my absolute favorite books of last year, and I'll leave a link down in the description as well as an annotation on the screen just in case you guys haven't seen that book review. If you haven't read Cinder, I suggest not watching this book review and go watch my Cinder book review instead because there will be spoilers for Cinder. Scarlet picks up almost immediately after Cinder ends. Cinder's currently in jail and you find her basically breaking out of prison, and she happens to take someone along with her, Captain Thorn. At the same time all that story is going on, you start to find out about Scarlet, who lives in France, and her grandmother has gone missing. Scarlet is sort of a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, but I felt like Cinder followed Cinderella pretty formatically. Like you could sort of see things that were coming because it was following the Cinderella storyline, but Scarlet isn't quite the same. There are a lot more surprises with Scarlet because it doesn't follow the Little Red Riding Hood story perfectly. I really enjoyed Scarlet a lot, but I have to say I did like Cinder a little bit more. One of the things, and this is just a personal pet peeve, it's not something that's against like Marissa Meyer or anything like that, I personally just don't like the dual storylines. I was always more interested in the Cinder storyline than the Scarlet storyline. I found Cinder to be a more interesting character than Scarlet, and especially with everything that happened in the first book, I was really intrigued by her and, you know, Prince Kai, or King Kai, I guess he would be now. When the book starts out, you don't completely know how Scarlet's story fits into the big Cinder Lunar Chronicles storyline. It takes some time to get into that, and I felt like all of that time I wasn't completely into the story quite as much as I was into Cinder's. I wasn't really super crazy about Scarlet. She seems a little bit emotional for my taste. She sort of admits it herself at one point of the book. She says that she tends to make decisions based on her emotions without thinking things through too much, and that sort of bothered me in this book. She tends to be at one end of the spectrum or another, and she seems to be a little bit naive in my opinion. I don't want to give away too much, but while things are getting revealed, Scarlet just keeps denying things, or she just keeps saying that can't possibly be true. But I mean, why couldn't it be true? You've only known your grandmother for like the, what, 10 to 20 years that you've been alive. She's been alive for much longer than that, and she had an entire life before you existed. So why couldn't those things be true? And of course, Scarlet must have a love interest, and her interest is in Wolf. He is sort of like a street fighter in the city that Scarlet lives in. They end up going on the journey together to find Scarlet's grandmother. I won't say much more than that because I don't want to give too much away, but there's definitely a clear chemistry between them. It's really funny because as the story progresses, you learn more things about Wolf and Scarlet's grandmother, and you sort of start to go back and forth about whether or not Wolf is supposed to be with Scarlet or not, which I thought was really interesting. But I have to say the way Marissa Meyer is combining these stories is really well done. By the end of the book, I was really excited for the third book. Book 1 is like the introduction to this world and this storyline. Book 2 is sort of like the reaction to book 1 and sort of the repercussions of everything that has happened. Book 3 looks like it's going to be almost like a training book to get ready for book 4 when all hell breaks loose. So if you've read Cinder and you liked Cinder, you definitely need to pick up this book and continue on with the series because it does do a good job of continuing on. There are a couple parts in here that seem a little bit slow, but I feel like that's sort of what happens in second novels because you need to explain a lot of things, or there needs to be a lot of character growth / reaction to things, so it slows the plot down a little bit, but it's necessary for that to happen, otherwise the plot wouldn't make sense if there wasn't some sort of character development. I gave this a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads, but I didn't put it on my favorite shelf, which is my shelf that I put all of my favorite books on, obviously, just because this one didn't grip me quite as much as Cinder did, but I did still really enjoy it, which is why I gave it the 4-star rating. Let me know if you've picked up Scarlet or if you've read Cinder and you can't wait to read Scarlet. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching. Review of Scarlet. Cinder picks up pretty much immediately after Cinder ends. Did I say Cinder picks up? I don't even know. Scarlet is sort of a retelling of